My name is Miguel Ibarra. I'm the head of the Daitoryu Aikido Jiu-Jitsu Yamabushikai Jiu-Jitsu Federation. I've been studying and practicing the arts for 32 years. I started when I was about 10 years old. My father always wanted me to stay fit and wanted me to practice some self-defense, so he started teaching me boxing, and from there I went on to pick up a book on Masoyama's karate, which sort of got the juices flowing, and then when my parents were able to afford it, it actually put me in a real martial arts school. So I started when I was 16. What we're trying to do with when we're practicing our throwing is, for one thing, we're trying not to use a power base. Although that's not to say that you don't need power and strength to execute defensive tactics and defensive techniques. But we're trying to emphasize more of your body positioning, the taisabaki. We're trying to emphasize more the use of leverage and maximum amount of force on a small section of the body. So, for example, if we're doing a kotegaeshi, we're going to try to do a very small circle, generating a lot of energy on this one section of the joint, okay, which will produce the maximum amount of pain and control over the individual. If we're doing a throw, I try to emphasize the body position. If your knees are not bent, the more straight your knees are, the more you tend to use your back muscles, which inevitably somebody turns around and go, oh, I pulled my back muscles. I can't do the throws. One of the ways to avoid that is to, if you're doing hip throws, lower your knees, get your hips lower than the other person's hips, fold them over you, pick them up with your leg strength, and then just rotate them over your hips. By using the lever principles, we're making it easier, in quotes. Not that it's easy to do. We're just making the throw easier on yourself. The final effect is always the same. The person's going to have a hard impact. When it comes to the joint locks, again, small movements, maximum concentration of effort on the one spot, one point. If it's a nikyo, again, we're talking about the wrist. If it's an elbow locks, kansatsawazas to the elbow, again, concentrating on that small point and putting as much of your body weight and force into that one spot. By emphasizing those things, we're able to, I think, live up to the maximum use of force with a minimum amount of effort. Okay, that's where that really falls into, from my standpoint. It's not making it look as if it was magical, but rather just proper use of your body and some theories of mechanics and physics. There's a lot of people who are looking nowadays for certifications and airmail certifications and videotape certifications, and I'm sort of reluctant to do that, and I've been reluctant, and in a way I've been criticized for it because I'm sort of losing money, and that, to quote someone who's very close to me, you're losing money by doing this. You're not moving up in the martial arts world. You need to be out there. But I think people have to understand that if you truly want to teach and practice a martial art and actually get good at it, the only way to do it is by doing it. All these certifications getting by mail and affiliating, videotape instruction. Videotapes are good. To me, they're the modern form of scrolls, which the Japanese instructors are always saying that they have. They have scrolls which have techniques that go for years and years. Nowadays, we don't write on scrolls anymore. We use the videotapes. They're merely reference points. They're not items from which to learn. And that's something that I'd like to bring across to people, because it's something that I increasingly get emails, letters, phone calls. Everybody wants to study on it. And I don't think there's a real understanding as to why I have a resistance to it when there's so many people out there just giving out black belts. You buy a videotape series, practice this, send me a videotape test, and it's done. It's not that you're trying to be harsher. It's not that you're trying, because in fact financially it's to my detriment not to do it. But it's just a way of gaining a little bit more quality control. The next 5 or 10 years, I foresee our system staying small, because it's not the kind of system that is taught in a commercial way. It doesn't really appeal to the commercial ideologies. We mainly concentrate on traditional classical methods of practicing self-defense techniques. We study principles that were practiced by the traditional Daitoryu schools. We try to interpret them to modern applications and apply them to modern applications. but we're not trying to exploit them in many other ways that some systems can be exploited. So I envision us staying small, continuing a high quality of instruction, high quality of practice with a small population.